So, hi, this is the Drupal usability meeting for July 9th, 2019. And we're going to talk about media Visivig integration and a new contrib module for a layout builder. Let's start with media, I guess, because you were first to suggest.
Okay, well, here, I'll share my screen a little bit. All right, cool. Can we all see my Drupal? Or can anybody see my Drupal right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Drupal, yeah.
What
Okay,
issue are we
so,
discussing? What issue are we discussing?
we are discussing a suite of issues, actually, but the patch I'm demoing is this one, which is a combined patch made of four patches, which will be committed in a very definite order.
So for the sake of the recording, the number is 2994702.
Yeah. So this is stuff that Wim Leers wrote over the last few months, and we are in the process of adding it to core. We're about to get one of the sort of the underlying, the under the hood patch committed, so it's time to start showing this to UX. What I have here is a standard install of Drupal, Drupal 8.8 with the patch applied. Media and media library are enabled, and I have configured, actually I don't need to show you this, I've configured a text format to use a new input filter that we're adding called embed media, and I can show you that administratively if you're curious, but I'd rather just demo the functionality. So if I go and add an article, and I have this mysterious button which has no icon yet, but if you look down in the bottom left, you can see it's insert from media library. So no icon, but we'll get to that. If I click it, I get the media library. I get whatever's in the media library. I can upload something new, as you might, well, that's rude, but okay, sorry. You can upload stuff as you might expect to be able to do. It's the media library we all know and love. I can insert it into CK Editor, and it shows up with a nice rendered visualization here, and allows me to put a caption right there. And I have these two buttons. If I click the X, then it just gets removed, as you might expect it to. And I have to go re-add it. If I hit this, I can change some options, such as the alt text. Go a little soft, buddy. And I can change some alignment. I can turn the caption on or off. So that lets me remove the caption, and then I can put the caption back, but I have to re-enter it. I can also change the alignment, which is pretty cool, or to the left. And that's pretty much that. If I go and save this, then I get exactly what I got in the WYSIWYG, and I can go over to the images because this is rendering the media item using a pre-existing view mode. If I go back to edit, I get the same thing, and I can still edit it, change the alignment again perhaps, yeah, so that's basically it. Unless, so yeah, any comments on that extremely nice but basic functionality?
Can you change the view mode?
It is possible. At the moment, it has to be, so we actually just finished discussing this in the issue. It is possible to change the view mode per embed, but in order to reduce the cognitive load on people, we don't expose a UI for that in core. That'll be something that we let contrib do. If you want to change it with core, you have to go into source mode and sort of, the thing is I don't have any other view modes to play with right now, but you would do something like this where you would set data view mode and then the machine name of the view mode you wanted to use. That being said though, you can change which one it defaults to. If you edit, that's a filter level option. So as you can see, we have this filter enabled called embed media. This is the thing that actually makes this work, and then you can choose which view mode you want to use. So if I wanted to use media library, I'll just refresh this. I could change that option, and then it's going to render using the media library view mode, or at least it should. Yeah, so this is what it looks like with the media library view mode, which was not meant for use with embedding, which is why it looks so shitty. But the point is it can be changed. If I wanted to force it to use the full, I think this would work. Use full, and then, yeah, then it looks good. So yes, it is possible, but having a UI to select which one to use at embed time is going to be something that we do in Contrib.
Okay. I mean, I think this is great. I just got to emphasize that, like, the UX, the whole experience of going through this it's very, very clean. I agree with Benji's thing about the view mode of controlling it, and I mean, in Contrib they're going to have to override everything that's going on here to get this to work.
Not necessarily.
Because, well, I guess I just saw it in the filter if it had checkboxes. Of course, in the filter it would default. You have a drop down. But
Yes,
if it
over
check
to
boxes and defaulted to one option, obviously you don't need to show them the view mode. But if someone selected multiple view modes, then you would show the drop down. Like,
that's the thing. I
yeah.
still think that's the thing that we had agreed to do in Contrib. There's the reason being that we want to keep things, like in core, our general mission has been to keep things as simple as possible, and to make it as simple to configure as possible, as simple to use as possible, and to we really don't want to add additional steps to this if we can avoid it. But that being said, it's not, out of the realm of possibility to have checkboxes over here if that was really, really important to people.
Well, we could walk through. I just see the use case where you have this. You want to embed something. I don't know. You have view modes: thumbnail, large image, full image, teaser. You're like, I see use cases. I don't see it 80%. I'll be honest. The view mode I see like 50-50. It would just encourage people to use view modes more. But I mean, that's not a deal breaker for me. But I do see, like, I feel like getting someone to do it in Contrib. Yeah, I guess there could be a series. Are there any other enhancements that you guys thought of and took out, or?
Well, none that really leap to mind, honestly. Nothing that particularly leaps to mind. We have some stuff down the horizon to be able to override things besides just the alt text and the alignment and caption and stuff like that. But that's a little bit further down the road, and it's being done in separate issues.
And someone could have their view mode take the caption from the media and display that instead of letting them manually enter a caption.
Could you say that again? Because I'm trying to sort of parse
like, let's
it in
say
my
you had
brain.
this photo and you had a caption associated with this photo that says cute sloth, and you wanted to use site-wide. So every instance of this photo had the same caption and a way to change it site-wide.
Yes, I think that would be like a sort of a default caption that happens everywhere unless you override it. I think that would in theory be possible, but I'd have to ask Wim for the specifics of that. So basically, TLDR, I don't know, but that should in theory be possible.
Yeah, I'm just walking through all the edge cases. Like, now we're getting into edge cases, but
I think.
So, sorry, go ahead.
I think when you were editing the media,
right here.
Yeah, when you deleted that, you ended up with
default alt text. That's the placeholder.
And if you save, that's the default.
Yeah, but that's the default alt text. It's not the same thing as the caption.
The caption, yeah, sorry.
So yeah, caption and alt text are two different things, and we treat it that way.
That's right.
I have a different question. Why is the default view mode clickable? The image on the default view mode is clickable. That was awkward.
Good question. I think that's because, so the default view mode we're using as of this generation of this functionality, if I recall correctly, is full view mode, and the full view mode, I believe, yeah, it links to the file. So that's just the default. We opened a follow-up today to potentially ship a new view mode with media that's specifically for embedded things.
Adam, I
Yes.
have a minor suggestion,
Yeah.
and people may not like it, but could you go to the edit of the node with the image in it again, and then edit that image?
Just this guy.
I would suggest also having the caption text and the alt text here, because it isn't necessarily clear from the first image that there are two different fields and that these are two different things.
Right. Yeah, and what I was sort of thrown by when I tested this was that I would expect caption, like this checkbox, to show a new text field down here where you could change it. But apparently it enables this sort of editable area down here at all. Which now that I'm there, now I can enter new caption. So that was surprising for me as well. I mean, yeah, it would be pretty easy. It would probably be pretty trivial to add a text field down here where you could change the caption. I guess my concern there is, one, now we have two text fields and we have to explain what alt text is versus caption, which is weird. And the other thing is that the caption, the alt text is, visible only to screen readers, or if the image isn't loaded, whereas the caption is this thing that's actually visible all the time. So it makes potentially more sense to treat the caption as something that's actually visually there instead of in another interaction, in another mode here.
My primary concern is it assumes a level of technical knowledge in a content editor that in my experience hasn't been necessarily true or consistent.
Yeah, I mean, potentially. What does anybody else have an opinion about that? I don't feel too strongly about it either way, to be honest.
How do you add a link here?
Like link the whole thing?
No, the new caption. Imagine, I don't know,
Like how do I link to it?
Yeah, for example,
that's
you're
a great
adding
question.
I don't know, the typical
Apparently
thing
it's
where you are adding an Instagram or something and you want
Right.
to actually link into the account.
But you can
Maybe
click on
I
the link
can.
icon. Click on the link icon. Highlight and click on the link icon.
Oh, maybe it is doable. Let's see.
Yeah, if that works, that's awesome, by the way. Because
oh my god, I think it does.
yeah.
Wow.
Just to say why I'm like so excited to see this is I think when you do the inline images, like the default that shipped with core,
yeah,
it didn't support that. It was like you couldn't even get HTML markup in there sometimes. It was so frustrating.
Look how fucking nuts this is. It actually works.
That's really cool. That's great.
I didn't even think of that. Nice idea. Does it let me bold it? And there you go. You can actually bold and italicize. Wow. So that's pretty cool.
Can you actually add an image in there?
Christina, stop it. Apparently not. It's grayed out up here.
Okay, somebody already did the crazy thing.
It's because Wim is very sane. So yeah, this is there you go. I guess it works. That's cool.
Well, you could actually use the source.
The what? Sorry.
Source. You could actually.
You can add some fun HTML in there if you click source.
I actually don't know if you can because it's just a data attribute here. So maybe you could. You just have to escape it and whatnot.
I'm pretty sure people has a lot of imagination.
Yeah, let them do it. Assuming there's no XSS holes or anything like that. But okay, so does anybody else have major feedback on this? And should we open an issue about the potential confusion with regard to how the caption is edited? I wouldn't mind opening a follow-up to revisit this and whether we want to have this be just directly editable or if we want to have a caption even in this modal or what.
Yeah, but if you look at this user experience, the simple thing is if the caption's blank, it doesn't display. If there's a caption, it displays. Because
so right there.
Oh, because they have but no, because they want to have they want to indicate that you need to enter it. Yeah.
What the hell just happened?
You lost the edit.
What did I manage to lose the edit? Well, that seems like a bug. And I do not know what I did to reproduce that.
You shouldn't edit the source.
Maybe I shouldn't edit the source. Yeah, okay, I don't know why that happened, but there you go. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so it
Oh, yeah.
adds.
It's still using media library display.
Yeah.
I just realized. Let's change that back to the original thing that we were doing. Peace out. Bring the sloth back. Are you kidding? Oh, you know what? It's probably just a settings thing. Okay, now we're back to sanity, apparently. So yeah, any other feedback on this, or did we reach another unbelievably fast UX consensus?
My personal question is, do we want to have the caption enabled by default or not?
I mean, I would, my instinct is to say yes, because if we don't have it enabled by default, people are going to ask, how do I put a caption on it? Now, granted, they will probably pretty quickly come here and realize they have to, you know, change something, but that I think is going to be a little, it's more cognitive load than we should add.
Is
The answer to that is, what do we do currently? And whatever we do currently, let's just do the same thing.
It's a really good question. Let's see what we do currently. So apparently we have that. Ponies are dumb. Apparently we have the same basic idea.
But you
I
checked
enabled
the box.
caption specifically. Yeah, let me see what happens if I that up. No idea what's in this image. There's more slots. Yay. Okay, so there's nothing by default.
Yeah, so we
Makes
should
sense.
keep the same default. We can open an issue to discuss changing the default, but I would expect that this patch would just basically
Just do
be
what
a
image does.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah, we could. That could be
And
doable.
yeah, for me personally, it would make more sense to click the edit button if you want to add a caption.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm not really sure what the 80% use case is here.
Right. Okay. Well, I would. Well, here's the thing. That particular issue is not going to be committed just yet, so I'm fine with. I'm fine with bringing this up in the next UX call. I think that's actually a couple of patches away where we even get to the point that you can select things from the media library at all. So I'm okay bringing this up in a future call before, like right before we're going to like actually land that patch and just be like, hey guys, have we decided on this? We could do something like that.
Just one more point.
Yeah.
On the idea of having the caption open in the text box when you click the button, that I think that would make it very clear without needing any help text or anything that the caption and the alt text are two different independent things.
That makes sense.
It does make it a little hard to add HTML in the caption, though.
Yeah.
That is also true.
That's
That
and
is
then
also
if the HTML opened up, it's bad. Yeah.
right.
So
I mean, in this case, it behaves exactly the way the existing image plugin from Core does. So keeping that consistent might be advantageous, especially for the reasons that we just mentioned with regard to adding HTML.
So
can I add a field into media, and what happens there?
Like if you add
Okay.
another field into the view mode,
Yeah.
that should theoretically work. But let us experiment with that crazy shit. Let's see. I'm gonna add a field of.
So my concern, for example, is if I want to actually add the author or something like that, or the photographer, I don't know, something like that.
I like that idea better.
Where should I add this information?
Well, one thing you could obviously put it in a caption, but I really like that idea.
Yeah,
Testing
imagine
it out.
that you want to filter by author.
Yeah, let's say
in
it's
the
photographer.
library.
Let's do a user reference and see what happens here. Do not include the anonymous user. Don't ever do that. Okay, let me add a piece of media to, or no, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Let me go back and configure the display here. Oh, that's cool. That looks good to me. Okay, let's add a media. That sort and see what happens with it. I have the weirdest weirdest images. I think I'm just admin right now, so say I'm the photographer. Okay, I guess we will see. Did I change this, by the way, back to being full content? Because I really should have. Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's see what happens if we do that. Yeah, shows up. Pretty much as configured.
And then to edit it is just edit, click on the
You
button.
can't edit that particular. You can't edit that particular metadata. That's happening in a separate issue.
Okay, cool. That's fine.
Yeah, that's more of a should.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And was it possible to eliminate the choice of adding captions? So right now the captions are there, yes or no, for the individual content editor. Can a site builder make it so that that isn't an option available to the individual content editors?
I don't think that is the thing we can do yet, but we could certainly make that happen in the patch. That I like. I personally really like that idea. And assuming it can be configured at all, probably. Well, I don't know. Data caption. This is kind of interesting. It might be something like this. Possible. I wonder if you would want. Maybe you would have to remove the ability to caption anything. I'm not really sure. That's a really good question.
Thanks.
Yeah. So TLDR, I don't know.
In general, though, this looks great. Like, I did not expect. I am a disembodied brain.
I know, we're all disembodied brains living in the Matrix.
I did not expect this to work because, like, back when we were talking about the requirements for this, there was a lot of pushback on like the alignment and the captions, and but you got it all working. So it's
well, luckily, Wim Lears is a sorcerer. That's the thing. So yeah, no, we totally got it to work.
Okay, so what's the icon? What's going to be the icon?
Can we not bike shed that right now? Emily has something she wants to talk about. We're not doing that yet.
Okay, we won't go there, but
yeah, we're a couple of patches away from bike shedding that. But don't worry, when the time comes to bike shed it, we'll bike shed the shit out of that.
Good.
Yeah, in general, from my standpoint, the more it matches the existing stuff, the happier I'm going to be. So that's pretty much my.
I'm sorry, Angie, you faded out for a moment. What was that?
Oh, sorry. I was saying from my standpoint, the closer it matches what's currently there, the happier I'm going to be.
Right. The only problem is we can't have two image icons.
A whole bunch of bike shedding and angry rants and so if you just like make it match as pixel perfect as possible, then I'm good.
I honestly think it should be solved American Gladiator style. It's like literally take two people from the UX team and make them fight on pillars with giant Q-tips over a big pool. That'd be amazing. Like no more bike shedding, just fight with Q-tips.
There's a trampoline place not far from me that has a large foam pit where we could use for this. You all have to come. Oh my
god, that's such a good idea. All right. Anyway, well, cool. Thank you very much, everybody, for your time and your feedback.
Awesome demo. Thanks.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
So let's switch over to Emily on the contrib layer builder enhancements.
Okay. I'll share my screen. Okay. Can everyone see this?
Yep.
Okay. Let me zoom in. Oh, nope, that's too much. All right. That's what we get. Okay. So the idea behind this is that you can use Layout Builder for all of the other regions in the theme as well. So right now we're calling it Layout Builder everywhere. And to do this, we're working on a toolbar that will take over the top toolbar that has this concept of modes. So you have your view mode, which is what you're normally in browsing the site. And then edit mode is essentially quick edit. We're not really touching that, but then layout is your layout builder mode. So this is a page that you're just viewing. And then here, once you've clicked layout, this puts you into layout mode, which shows you the different types of regions that you have available to lay out. And so right now this is using this yellow color to show you the global regions, which there are 3 of on this page, and then the content region, which is in the middle. If you click into content, then you get to the traditional content page, but it has it broken out so that only that area is really visible. And then if you were to switch to your global header, if you had clicked that, this would show at first a little pop-up modal that says that header is a global region. Any layout changes here will be reflected throughout the site. And if you hit continue, then it pops you into Layout Builder for that region. And then save and cancel are up here. And that would take you back to the view mode. So I'd love to hear any feedback that people have on any stage of this process, really.
I just had one quick question. Can you go to the one with the yellow? That one, yeah. Do we have anything other than yellow that indicates the difference between a content region and a global region, since we can't rely on color alone for accessibility?
Right, for
local.
So there are a couple of ideas I had for that. Obviously for screen readers, it would have something that it reads aloud that specifies that. But as far as just color, we could have something that also has like a tab at the bottom of each region that says the name and that it's a global region. That's just going to be some extra UI craft if we do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It'd probably be worth looking to see how other people did it, but I do know that Andrew is gonna ding us if that's what we're doing. We're gonna need some kind of visual indicator other than color that these are different. And even with the people who can see color, I would not have inferred yellow means global.
Yeah, I don't expect that people would figure that out at the beginning. That's why the pop-up is there, so that when someone learns that affordance, they would know. But no, yeah, I don't.
Can you go to the pop-up again? And I just want to see what is the wording that it uses there?
Sure.
So you say is a global region. Any layout changes here will be reflected throughout the site, right?
Shouldn't this have like an icon, like a warning or something like that, or is just an information message?
Yeah, it's intended as just an informational, but if we feel like it should be a warning, we could put the warning icon in. I just didn't want to scare people with it.
No. Makes sense. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Well, go ahead, Christina.
No, I was just repeating that I'm not sure.
Yeah. Is the pop-up going to come up every time you go into a global section?
So the idea is that we could set a cookie for the user that after they've seen it once, they don't see it again. That's what Squarespace did when I was testing with this. And they also just used color to distinguish their global and main regions, which I know isn't ideal.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice from the standpoint that you want the UI to look as close to what the front end looks like as possible. Going back to, sorry, I'm trying to move your screen and it's not doing it. Could you go back to the very left, like the view part? What does the button say? View mode, edit, layout. Are those two buttons, edit and layout?
Yes. Yeah, and they would have the current toolbar styling. This is kind of a quick mock-up.
Okay, I got it. View mode is blue because it's saying you're in view mode versus edit mode on the next one. Got it. I guess
are you actually going to rearrange the order depending on which one is selected?
That was the plan, yes, to have the current mode you're in be on the left.
That's sort of a different pattern from any other time I use something like the toolbar.
I was going into Keynote for a second here, because Keynote has this concept of I'm editing something and then I'm editing the overall thing. I'm just trying to see what it does. So it looks like by default, the only thing you can edit is the content. Like I can click around and buttons and stuff like that. But then if I want to edit the global stuff, I actually have to go to a different place, which is File. Where did I see that? Where did it go? Oh, if I right click, I can go to Edit Master Slides, and then I'm taking to a place where I can edit the overall global templates for things. So I almost wonder if we want a similar pattern here or not. It's hard to say, because I know we went back and forth and all around this with this global versus local concept.
Yeah, I mean, one of the hard requirements that we have is that you can edit both from the same page, both global and content regions.
Where's that requirement coming from?
From product and Opera.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's useful to be able to edit both from the same page for sure. My concern is that it's also confusing if people do not understand what they're doing. I mean, you're trying your best with that. Like you're coloring them differently. You're giving the warning if they're clicking into it and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. That just like my question was more like, could it be two layout edit buttons, one for global and one for local? But it sounds like that's not going to be a workable solution.
Yeah, not really. It's certainly something if everyone feels like that would be better, we could probably push back on it.
Yeah.
What about using a pattern like strikes, or I don't know how to say that. Like vertical lines or horizontal or diagonal lines, and when you actually hover one of them, they just became transparent and you don't have lines anymore. They are something like, I don't know, a pattern that has an opacity of 10 or 5% with the same color of the region. That maybe will solve the concern about having this exactly the same thing, just with different colors.
Okay, so a different pattern on global versus a different pattern on content.
Yeah. Not really sure it will explain the difference, but at least it could look different.
One idea would be to, and I'd have to check to see if this counts as accessible or not, but if there was a way to sort of gray out the area that was not the content area when that's selected, and then conversely ungray out. Yeah, exactly. But I'm pretty sure when we tried this before, we got into trouble because it was a modal inside of a modal, and that's why we ended up having to use those ugly borders all the time.
Yeah, I think that there are ways around that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good, just because visually anyway, this is very clear what's happening. Like you're editing this chunk and not the remaining chunk. And if there was a similar like reverse highlight process that happens, which it does, there we go. This way, then it's very clear what you're editing and what you're not. My real big concern is that I remember signing off on this type of design before, and then Andrew shooting a torpedo through it from an accessibility point of view. So we'd have to make sure that if we're going to go this way, we have to make sure that it, you know, we somehow don't do like nested dialogues or whatever the concern was last time. Because that
Angie, it's a different concern. I actually remember the concern last time. Can you scroll back to the left 2 or 3 screens? Where, stop here. The concern was when people were navigating this UI, what's highlighted, and they were going to add section or add block, when they clicked on it, what would happen is it would gray out all the other panel, I'm going to call panel panes, all the other panes. And it became really hard to know where you were, and then you could go back and you were tabbing through. This is a different UI. Like, we're not trying to turn on and off individual panes. We're saying this whole section needs to come to the front, and then we're graying out everything in the back. It's a different pattern than what we got dinged on. It was like every single click was graying things out. You click add block, then everything around that add block region would be grayed out, and it did get confusing. People have to know how to exit this mode, which you have at the top, right? Cancel. Save and cancel gets them out. I think this works. Angie, I guess that's where I'm going.
Yeah, cool. That's reassuring.
Okay, great. I can play around with different patterns too and see how that would work to distinguish global and content on this page. And then also the tab concept, so that will help with accessibility. Did anyone have anything else?
I have a really small question. Have we considered how this interacts with the normal administrative menu at the top? Because I think you mentioned early on that this is kind of taking over the administrative menu across the top. And I was just wondering what happens. Did you have to get out of this editing view and then the normal menu takes over? I was just curious what that would look like, or if that had been thought of.
So right now, because of the way the main menu is written, we're completely replacing the top menu because there isn't an API to add things like modes into the toolbar. So we're essentially rebuilding that toolbar and replacing it in the module.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
There used to be an API for adding things to the menu. Was that taken out at some point?
No, that still very much exists.
But isn't that static? It's not dynamic. It's not adding in things on the fly.
It is. It is. It's done with hooks. If that's the normal toolbar, then that's hook toolbar.
Hook toolbar or hook toolbar alter. There are two of them, or at least there used to be.
Oh,
Yes,
when it's
there. Right, we tried using that originally for Layout Builder and ran into some issues with the way that it manages those states. So everyone working in development said that we were going to have to rewrite our own.
Are there any issues about that, Emily? Because that could be potentially.
Sure, I can find the one that Chris opened.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't seem ideal because I can see that like contrib may want to add something else to the thing here. Then
Normally the view and edit are tabs. They're not part of the admin toolbar. Why aren't we extending that pattern?
the backlight.
For example, the devel module adds another tab at the same level as those.
Yeah, so the thing is, this doesn't just work for content, it works anywhere throughout the site, so even where there wouldn't be tabs. You can edit the layout throughout the whole site.
Okay.
I personally like this better, but I have concerns about, I depend pretty heavily on the admin toolbar for managing my sites. So as a site builder, I'm having trouble fully envisioning how this would work out in that context for a power user or a content editorial workflow in conjunction with some people being content maintainers and then a full site administrator as different roles.
Adam, did you see the issue I posted?
I did. Thank you. This is,
Okay.
well, it's nice to know that people are stumped by this, I guess. Yeah, thank you.
Thomas, your concern is that the site owner might be trying to control the global Chrome in such a way that like the logo is fixed and or like the header region is fixed. They don't want anyone monkeying with that. They don't care so much about the footer menu, and your concern is that a content author might get in here and monkey with stuff that the site owner meant to set, or I guess it's how you get it.
No, and it isn't a really big concern. It's more I'm just trying to figure out what happens in, as an administrator of a site, I may also edit content. I'm going to need to have an administrative menu across the top, but if this is replacing the administrative menu, does that mean that I have to click out of editing the content before I can access the administrative toolbar? Or is this yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how it all works together, because typically you're going to have at least 3 roles that I can think of: someone who manages workflow editorial wise, and do they lose their toolbar every time they go in to look at the edit mode? That's not what happened with the old tab way. So when we had the traditional tabs, you could have your full toolbar across the top and access anything that you needed to go to administratively or editorially. And that's it. It's not really complex, and I'm not worried about what is editable and what's not. I'm just trying to figure out, because I like this better. The tabs always pushed down the content, so the edit mode made the page look radically different than how it looks when it's actually being viewed. And this seems to be less disruptive, and I like that as a site builder. That's all.
Okay. I think as far as administration items, if you're in view mode, you can access the menu normally. The only thing that changes for layout and edit is that save cancel is right there. So if you're accessing sub-menu items, then those at the same time as you're in the layout mode, then that's going to replace your save cancel buttons. But all of it still functions normally. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. So it's not replacing it, it's adding on additional functionality so that you can see the save and the cancel, but the rest of the admin menu is remaining the same across the top, is what I'm hearing.
Exactly, yes.
Okay. Probably want to warn the admin toolbar contrib owners that the change is coming.
I'm going to weigh in a little, and I kind of, Thomas, I agree where you're going with this. Just to throw out, like, the tool, if we simplify the toolbar is for navigation. It is a toolbar to help you move around the administrative interface in the site to get to different sections. And the tool set that we're looking at here is for editing a page or editing the site. They're 2 different pieces of functionality, and I don't feel like they should be coupled together. Even if you look at like the design tool that you're using right now, even reiterates that pattern. You have a toolbar across the type to help you navigate. Then you have these the panels to help you edit the stuff you're working on. And we're cramming too much functionality into the one toolbar at the top of the page. I mean, I feel like someone would want to be able to just say, you know what, I'm done. I don't even want to save or cancel. I just want to navigate somewhere else. And they should be able to get right to the toolbar that they're used to, and it doesn't move around at all.
I agree that it shouldn't replace navigation, but I don't think it doesn't. It doesn't concern the toolbar. I mean, it does concern both of them. Ideally, the toolbar. I mean, we don't really have so many other places to add all these tools.
So what I'm understanding is that the full functionality of that admin path is there. We're simply moving the tabs that used to be above the content into the administration menu. But does that mean that where we see view and edit, you would also see revisions and devil and any additional, the tabs that used to exist, would all of those things appear in that administrative toolbar across, or administrative menu across the top? Or are those things that we haven't considered yet?
Oh, that's right. I didn't realize those are there too. But
yeah, so in cases where you have more tabs, I think they're still going to live with the content right now, because those aren't going to be on every page. So this is kind of an MVP for getting those layout modes for simple content, but on more complex sites, I think there's going to have to be more planned out for those.
Would it be possible to add a top-level item to the admin toolbar for the layout builder and have some sub-items that you choose between to edit the layout? Rather than add several top-level items to the toolbar?
You mean instead of adding view and edit up there?
Right, instead of layout, view, and edit as 3 top-level items on the admin toolbar, have layout be a top level and then view and edit be sub-items.
So in this case, instead of being in view mode, you would essentially just have a tab that says layout builder.
Right. You know, so, sort of like when I have my browser, I have a bookmarks menu item or view item, and below it I have several things that I can check off. Have a drop-down menu where I get to choose whether I'm in edit mode or view mode for the layout.
So are you saying that sort of like the save and cancel under the layout mode, you would see view, edit, save, cancel, rather than having view and edit to the right of the layout mode?
Sort of, although I would expect a drop down rather than a second level horizontal menu.
Got it. I still love moving away from the tabs in the content. I can understand why this is a universal, and that's different than the individual more complex use cases. I just think it'll be very confusing for existing sites to be upgraded to have some of the tabs moved into this menu. Well, some of the other pre-existing tabs will remain lower down and associated with the body of the content. I could see that being a learning curve and looking a bit awkward.
Well, it's possible to have the same link in more than one place on the page. Just because we're adding them to the admin toolbar doesn't mean we have to remove them from their usual position.
True, until that secondary work happened in the future and you addressed it everywhere, that would make sense. Sort of transition.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of transitional things with this about how content is edited. But it's good to hear that people think this is a useful first step, so that's nice.
I have another question about the layout options that you have in here. I see a save and a cancel. I don't know if these are all finalized or not, but I know currently with Layout Builder, there's a save, there's a discard changes, and there's a revert. I'm not sure if that was that's going to be planned in here, or if it's just going to be a simple save and cancel.
No, those would all be in here, yes.
Okay, just wanted to double check that.
Okay, great. Well, this was all really helpful discussion. So thanks everybody for all of that. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Any other topics for the remaining 6 minutes that we should discuss? Going once, going twice. Nope. All right. Well, in that case, thanks both of you for presenting your progress. It's great. Keep up the great work. And thanks everyone for coming and providing feedback. Have a nice week.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
I'll.
Bye.